asked 2 questions. And then the first is like, how did he come up with it? Or how did it get started? And the second is like, honest, do you genuinely like the book? And yeah, I do like the book. But I think the way that our book, or the way that his book kind of started, I feel as though it was kind of just destiny for him. So then I would just talk a little bit about that. So my dad was always a really good writer. He had, I think, a blog, and he would write, poems or stories, or really, really short, like poems or stories on this blog. But he never, really thought about writing a book. It never really crossed our minds that maybe our dad would write a book one day. But, okay, well, I'm like a child, right? And so when I was maybe 10 years old, I was such a baby that before I went to bed, I wanted my dad to tell me a story every night. So I would lie in my dad's bed, and so would my little brother, and he was 8 and I was 10. And then my dad would, always tell us stories. They would either be about God, or they would be about life lessons or nursery rhymes or anything kind of in between. But then one day he told us a story about an orphan named Selena and an orphan named Gabriel, and how Gabriel loved Selena, but Selena didn't love him back because he was an orphan and she wanted a big family. And it was just this amazing elaborate story, and he just came up with it off the top of his head. And I remember after he said it, me and my brother were asking wow, who wrote that story? Who wrote that story? And he goes no, I just made it up off the top of my head. And we were wow. So he told it to my mom, and then he just kind of, in his brain, the story kind of deepened and deepened, and every night he would tell us new versions of the story, or every night he would kind of get deeper into this, and then just somehow the idea that, you should take this seriously, you should make this into a book, just kind of, got in his head. And then my dad, he's such a hard worker. Every night, he would have me and my brother go upstairs, we didn't have any distractions, and he would just write for I think a solid hour, and he'd be in such a trance that the fire alarm could go off and he would not notice. But no, so I really think that it was some sort of fate or something like that, because I think that writing is something that my dad's really, really passionate about, and I think that it was just something really good for him that he has this book that's physical and in real life that he can hold. And then the second question, do you genuinely like the book? I genuinely like the book. I think that the book contains a lot of really just essential, I don't know how to talk, really essential life lessons that I feel as though my father has implemented in me. And I really like that people that are going to read the book, especially there's a lot of children out there reading my dad's book, and I love that they're going to learn all those, life lessons that my dad's spent his whole life teaching me. For example, unconditional love or unselfish love, I love Justin Bieber, but I know that he doesn't love me back. Same way.
Oh, that's new to me.
Same way. My dad has taught me that sometimes, in life you're going to love someone, and you're going to love someone so much that you don't expect anything back from them. For example, I'm a moody little teenager, not even going to lie. So, even when I'm annoying my dad or anything like that, my dad, he'll still, or even if me and my dad are in a fight, my dad will never not say I love you to me before I go to bed. Or he'll never, let me go to sleep angry. And I feel as though that's just something so vital, because you don't know what's going to happen while you sleep. Or, somebody can pass away just like that. And I feel as though it's, that's morbid, but it's just so important, though, that I feel like people are kind of getting that message and understanding what my dad's kind of implemented in me. So, Dad, I'm really, really proud of you, and I'm excited to see where you go next.
Oh, thank you.
After Ford's wedding, he was constantly asking me questions okay, how do weddings work? Our dresses, are those veil things, are they necessary? And I was like, what, Dad? Why don't I just write it? And he was okay. But, yeah, at first I thought it was a joke, but apparently it wasn't. I wrote it, but actually I really, genuinely enjoyed it. And at first I didn't even think he was going to let me put it, in the book. Because,
So did you do any research?
Yes. I didn't really know that much about weddings, kind of. So, I had to research different kind of things. My mom even helped, too. We had to research, Brazilian traditions and all kind of things like that. But I think that, all in all, I learned a lot, kind of. And it was just a really
There's
good
a golden
experience.
heel they wear, and there is a,
Yeah.
what's it, desert
Yeah,
So wedding parties, all that she came from. Nowadays, Google's there.
Yeah.
You can pretty much, get information about anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amritha, apart from the
He focuses on kind of is friendship. Like let's say I tell my dad, and let's say I'm sad because me and my friend, real life story. I'm sad because me and my best friend were kind of drifting apart. So I go to my dad and I'm saying, Dad, me and this girl are drifting apart. I really don't want to lose her, but it's just we're not hanging out. Like I don't know what to do. And then the first thing my dad says is like, okay, I'll take you guys both to the mall. Like you guys can hang out. I think that my dad, he just a really big kind of value for him is childhood friendships, and I think that in the story, Gabriel and Marco are best friends, and I feel as though he kind of derivated some of that kind of like the bond and the kind of bond that they have. I feel as though he kind of derivated that from me and some of my friendships, like my best friendship with my mom, or my best friendship with like my best friend. But I do think that in terms of like grammar, it's not my dad's strong suit. He's getting a lot better at it. So definitely recommendations like that too. But I think if you are like gonna write a book, or if your parents gonna write a book, I think that the main thing is just you need to be supportive of like them. And it's really hard for them to write a book if they don't know that they have your full support. So I feel as though that's something really important for him. But yeah, no, I'm really proud of him, and I feel as though it's like a really big milestone for him.
Okay. I think we are running out of time. So, any final questions? Otherwise, I can sign the book for you if you bought. So I'm glad. Again, I'm really impressed. I never thought it's easy to come. Thank you all. Yes, ma'am.